hereby suspends the order of business for this meeting and this meeting only according to policy 2350. I need a motion. I need a second. All in favor? All in favor?
Discussion.
There's no discussion. That's why we're doing this tonight.
So the only question is, I just didn't know, wasn't sure what part of the order of business we were suspending.
Where's this?
So that's the only question that I have. So in terms of
The question, we were A3 and most, yeah, A3.
So with the questions from the audience is going to be suspended for tonight?
Yes.
Oh, God. No.
Madam President, I thought that we were looking at the board meeting procedures that we were handed out in the back.
Yes.
So I thought we were, because it was such a short agenda, I didn't think that we would be, talking about the special presentations or student liaison report or financial reports, because that's not included in this agenda. But because this was what was sent out to the public and this is what was posted on the website, I thought that this would be the agenda for tonight.
That's the agenda, but the regular order of business is we're changing it. That's the agenda.
Okay, so
Why change
what
it?
you're proposing is that we suspend A3, which is questions from the audience.
No.
And we go, yes, and we go straight into business.
No.
Only so that you could get your agenda passed.
I'm in charge of this meeting,
Okay.
and I will have you removed.
Yeah.
I'm saying it once, and I won't say it again.
Madam President,
This meeting, we have a motion on the floor, and we're going to vote on the motion.
Madam President,
We have a motion on the floor, we're going to vote on the motion.
I think it's incredibly unfair.
Mr. Feliciano,
Yes, Madam President.
you are out of order right now.
No.
We have a motion on the floor. We have a motion on the floor, please. And we are going to vote.
That's horrible.
And there's no debate, according to Robert's rules, on the spending of the rules. There's no debate.
Wow.
I have a motion on the
I should
floor,
get kicked out.
and
Freaking attorney sucks.
I have a second. Now, we'll vote.
No.
Yes.
No.
That is a shame. That is a shame.
Motion passed.
That's a shame.
Shame on you.
Justice.
Again,
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
It's wrong.
Shame on you.
Mr. Security. Security, please.
Security.
I said I'm not going to say it again,
That's a shame.
and I will not say it again.
That's what it is.
If
Yeah, it is disgusting.
there's anyone that makes one statement from this audience
Shame on you.
without, please have him removed, without the chair giving the okay to speak, I need that person removed immediately.
Sounds like it's a shit. Wow.
All I can say it again. Okay?
Wow.
Okay. B1A,
Show my boy.
consent agenda.
What she wants. Don't give
I need a motion.
Madam President, I make a motion.
I need a second. All in favor?
Could we have discussion, please?
We just said that. We just voted. We just voted. We just voted.
You can have discussion on the individual items. Well, you voted to suspend A3, but I think that as a board member, I can still ask you questions about the individual items.
Okay.
I just wanted to know what the consent agenda was, because I was a bit confused. It has B1A, but I don't know what B1A entails, because there wasn't something that was listed here.
There's no B1A. It says none at this time.
Okay, so there is no consent agenda?
No.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay, B2A. Acting Assistant Coordinator of Bilingual. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Mr. Jose Suarez as the Acting Assistant Coordinator of Bilingual effective Friday, November 20, 2015, and being further resolved that Mr. Suarez shall be remunerated in accordance with the negotiated agreement between the Brentwood School District and the Brentwood Principals and Supervisors Organization. I need a motion. I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So moved. Committee on Special, there's none at this time. C1, Committee on Special Education Related Matters, none at this time. D1A, Administrative Table of Organization, Coordinator of Health, Psychology, and Social Work Services. Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby appoints Ms. Emery Francois as the Coordinator of Health, Psychology, and Social Work Service for a 4-year probationary period, effective December 7, 2015 through 76, 2019, at a salary set forth in the negotiated agreement between the Brentwood Minerva School District and the Brentwood Principals and Supervisors Organization. I need a motion. I need a second.
Discussion?
Okay, this is a employee matter. Read what
I'm not
Robert Rules
going to
says.
speak anything about the employee, just policy. So according to our policy, 9240,
Thank you.
multiple times it states, in the case of a rejection, it is the duty of the superintendent, Dr. McIntyre, to make a new nomination. So based off policy, we cannot vote on this because it is not a new nomination. It is the same nomination as previously rejected.
Correct.
Right. Yeah!
First of all, I don't think policy is required from the superintendent. It's a non-delegable duty of the superintendent under the law to make recommendations for employment.
Can't hear.
Secondly,
We can't hear you.
the motion last time, I believe at the end of the day, was to quote, the will of the board was to have a revote.
No.
Therefore, the minutes reflect now that the motion last time was to rescind the prior motion of the last meeting and to renew, which means to place it on the next board agenda.
No.
Your motion failed.
Mr. Barnowski, I understand what you said, and basically what you're saying is that we tabled it and rescinded the previous vote, and therefore we can accept this as the nomination from the last meeting. Well, it just so happens that I have a copy of the draft minutes from the November 19th, which reflect,
Which we corrected though, with the district clerk.
okay, which
Why correct
reflect
them?
the fact that the item to be tabled failed. It was a 3-3 vote, therefore that item failed. And although the wording may be corrected, the measure still did not pass.
I'll defer to the district clerk on the vote. It was a confusing evening.
No.
Can you tell me if I'm correct?
She left.
Excuse me? I am correct.
Thank you.
So there-
Thank you. Yes.
Can you now tell the community what it is that we should be doing with the information that Trustee Calderon put forth?
Well, I disagree with Trustee Calderon's interpretation of that policy, and I think it's the non-delegable duty of the superintendent of schools to put forward candidates for employment. That cannot be stripped from the superintendent by policy or otherwise.
Who
I
does this
do
man
agree,
work for?
but it does state multiple times. I'll move down the same hiring,
Yeah.
recruiting and hiring employees. It states again, in the case of a rejection, it is the duty of the superintendent to make another nomination.
I did not view what happened last time as a rejection. It was a failure. It was a tie. It was not an affirmative vote one way
This is
or the other.
ridiculous. Was he at the same meeting?
It's not a rejection.
No.
You know, so let me, can I just continue the
Oh my God, who does
questioning
this
then?
lawyer
So,
work for them or for the district?
So, the policy that we have, the policies that we have on the books are the guiding principles for this body. The policies, educational law, Robert's rules. They are the guiding bodies that we should use in order to continue to make decisions for this district. I did a little bit of research in terms of when it was that we last updated the hiring and recruiting policy. And that was last updated December 18th of 2014. It just so happens, Madam President, you were the president of the board when we revised and updated this policy. One of the things that we did do was that we made sure that we had two candidates that were being presented to us by the by the superintendent. And there were multiple reasons. I was actually, Ms. Moore and Ms. Kirkham and myself were actually members of the board when we were going over this. And there were multiple reasons why we did this. Because we needed, sometimes we felt that we needed somebody else to compare the candidate that was before us. You know, the reasons for this were legitimate, and they were, I think, in the best, made with in the best faith. And I find it also ironic that the attorneys who helped us create this policy, I believe that Barnowski was an attorney in 2014, are now saying that, oops, I guess it doesn't apply and it doesn't work, and the intent of this policy doesn't apply anymore. So why even go through the motion of putting this into policy? Why change the policy when it wasn't even effective? So why did we do all of this?
My understanding of the policy is it was intended, as in many school districts, to codify, and when it came to certain key positions, the superintendent of schools would present for an interview, for discussion, the so-called finalists. Many school districts have that custom, and that's perfectly legal. In other words, for key positions, however you want to define it, from principal up, central office, etc., oftentimes the superintendent, after a screening process, will present, here are the top two candidates. However, the final decision as to which one to recommend and put on the board remains that of the superintendent. That's how I construe that policy. And
I don't disagree with that piece of your interpretation. The piece that I do disagree with is exactly what Trustee Calderon had put forth. And I invite everyone, I invite all the board members and the superintendent to take a visit of this. It's, you know, I invite the public. You know, it's on our website. Board policy is on our website, and it's on there for a reason. Again, it's the guiding principles. So board policy 9240, page number 3, it is not only mentioned once, but it is mentioned twice. And I have to reiterate that the interpretation of this is very clear because, you know, it is reiterated in the last, almost the last paragraph. You know, it says, while the board may accept or reject a nomination, an appointment will be valid only if made with the recommendation of the superintendent. And that underscores what it is that you just said. But in the case of a rejection, it is the duty of the superintendent to make another nomination. So what I'm saying is that with this, I believe that you are not carrying out the duties that you were hired to enforce. So it doesn't get any clearer than this.
Yes.
What I was hired to do, when there are aspects of the policy where it actually says that I must recommend 2 candidates. The superintendent cannot recommend 2 candidates per position.
No, it's not.
It is also an administrative responsibility of the superintendent to recommend candidate to the board. When at the last board meeting there was a 3-3 tie, there was one board member, we did not still have the full, although we had a quorum, we did not have the full board. I made sure that I requested that we have the full board tonight so that we can put that recommendation back before the full board, and having put that recommendation back before the full board for approval.
Dr. McIntyre, with all due respect, I do believe that a 3-3, regardless of it being 3 yeses and 3 abstentions, is a failed measure. And I believe wholeheartedly that this policy, you know, in order for you to move forward, you have to suspend this policy. You know, and that is what's at the crux of all of this. You are bypassing and you are setting aside the rules that we have used to govern this district since before you got here. And I believe that, you know, we are setting a very, very bad precedent if we continue to march down the road that we are marching.
Yeah, I just want to say that we all agree, the entire board agreed that the superintendent could give us the top 2 candidates, but then he would give his recommendation. So it doesn't change anything as far as the law is concerned. And that's the way we all understood it. And that's what we wanted. So I don't understand the change now. We wanted to see the top 2, but you would say to us, Dr. McIntyre, this is my candidate, this is the one I want you to select. That's where, and we all agreed on that.
That's right.
Yes.
Trustee Kirkham is on the policy committee. I don't know if there's anyone else here that's on the policy committee, but that's how we all work.
She's on the policy committee. She's on the policy committee.
And she doesn't talk, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Can you,
She's asleep.
Trustee Kirkham, can you weigh in and just tell us what the interpretation is?
The policy,
No.
the policy said two people, but the superintendent has to bring one person.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying.
So if the superintendent brought the one person,